Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to birth month of 2024 and also Hanna-Barbera-thon, technically. A little mini Hanna-Barbera-thon as we're going through. And we are on the second of the three Scooby-Doo movies that came out in the 80s, and we are talking about Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. In my last review, the one for Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, I said this is probably the better of the three because Reluctant Girl has never been my favorite, and Boo Brothers had a lot going on. And this one, kind of similar to the Boo Brothers, has something that's not needed, like all the stuff in there that wasn't needed. But there's one thing here that's not needed, and the movie feels like it's going on at a decent pace, and then all of a sudden, nowhere, they introduce a villain named Revolta out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden she wants to hypnotize these girls. So the story is that Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy, Shaggy wearing his red shirt to clothes, and not the green as in that picture, but as he wore in the 80s, are going to be gym teachers for Miss Grimwald's School for Ghouls. Girls, whatever. Where they meet the five girls: Tanis, who is a mummy; Elsa Frankenstein, who is like a Frankenstein monster female variety girl; Sabella Dracula, who is the daughter of Dracula and a vampire; Winnie, who is a werewolf; and is there only four or is there five? Oh, Phantasma, a ghost girl. Forgot about her. And no, not like Gato del Fantasma. But no. And they didn't know that it was the school for ghouls, but their rivals are the Callaway Academy for Boys, a military academy, and they're set to play a volleyball game between the two, and yeah. And the movie is going along at a decent pace, but it feels like, once again, the writers, whoever wrote this or looked over, said, well, every Scooby-Doo movie has a villain. This is not a whodunit. There's no person with a mask like the last one. This is just Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy are teaching these girls gym class and stuff. And they felt like, well, we need to have a villain here. And we need to do... So they threw in Revolta. And her plan is to hypnotize the girls so they're evil and will work for her. But there's no real big master plan other than that. She just wants to hypnotize them to be her slaves of sorts. Her minions. And it just feels like this plot comes out of nowhere. Because, we're going along, and they have the volleyball game, which the boys try to cheat. But thanks to Scooby and the gang, it's thwarted, and the girls win. This, of course, makes the boys bitter later, even when the girls save them on a hike. But then after this, we're introduced to the fact that Revolta is there and watching all these girls and wants to hypnotize them. And I'm going, okay. Because I was going through this. It's been a while since I watched this, and I'm watching this. I'm going through it, and the volleyball game happens. I'm like, okay, I thought the volleyball game would be the climax. And we get this dinner with the parents. I'm like, okay, is this where it ends? Because is it end here? Because I remember that it ends with a dance, and then more students are introduced, and then Shaggy and Scooby run off. So I'm like, okay, so end here, and this is the end, and they introduce news. No, because now Revolta is introduced, and Shaggy gets hypnotized by a spider bat, which is not a real thing, but and so he is sort of hypnotizing his dream to take the girls on a hike where they will be kidnapped and hypnotized, or revoltized, as it said, into being her slaves, and then at midnight, the evil spell will take hold and they will permanently be evil. And from this point on, the movie kind of goes off the rails for me, where it's like, okay, you, one, did not end the movie, two, had to have a villain in here, so I don't know where this villain shows up. The villain, Like, at least I didn't notice this villain being a part of the movie from the beginning. She just comes out of nowhere in the middle of this film, to me. After the whole dance thing, she pops up. Yeah, and I don't know. To me, she's kind of unnecessary. But, you gotta have some kind of villain. But you could have added more to the military academy as being the villains. Like, they tried to cheat, and you could have them do more and more uh, competitions, which they try to cheat and lose. And then, you could have, I don't know, but they have one volleyball game, and that's it. And then later, I think it's winning in tennis, or I think save a couple of the boys from the quicksand. Though we don't need their help. And and then they decide, not to help them when they find the others are being kidnapped, and then they end up helping anyway. And who lets little boys drive a freaking helicopter, right? But it was the woman write this, because this feels like, so they come to save the day, like, we'll save you girls, and like, what do you mean save us? And I'm like, this feels like it was written now. I mean, come on, damsels in distress were a thing, and this feels like something like, oh, we can't let them just be damsels because they're creature girls, but the boys do help save them in the end, right? Oh, and by the way, there's this little dragon by the name of Metches who can breathe fire. Of course, though, when it counts, he has problems with his pilot light, which they do reference early on in the film, and that's only so when it happens here, they have an excuse, or sometimes it runs out. And why doesn't it run out? Because if you could breathe fire, the movie would be over quicker. You can say, oops, right? So they have to, stretch it out. So every time he tries to use his fire, nothing comes out. Because we have to spread this on. And then, when it's finally time for this movie to come to its conclusion, he can breathe fire again. Because, there it is. But, I would say this is still a good movie. It has a lot of good stuff going for it. Like a voice cast, the boys in particular, Aaron Lohr, Bumper Robinson, what's his name? The voices Robin, and that guy from Full House, whatever, Dwayne. Forget his name, but he's in this as one of the kids. So the boys, then the girls, you have Susan Blue as Sabella, and there's other. And as for Miss Grinwald herself, voiced by the late Glynis Johns of Mary Poppins fame, well done, Sister Suffragette. Yes, her. I recognize her voice right away. Rest in peace. She passed away very recently. I'm going to say like December-ish. I was further back. I know she passed away recently. But, yeah. And then, of course, Casey Kasem, Don Messick as Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy, respectively. Yeah, and then Frank Welker does additional voices, of course. So the voice cast is on spots. And I do feel like that the Colonel disappears throughout the film, where you got Miss Grinwald showing up here and there. By the way, what's with this food that they have? Swamp fudge? Or swamp? Whatever it is, it's got like real mosquitoes in it. But Shaggy and Scooby eat it and they start itching. That's not how that works. And then there's special fudge that has, I don't know. It's the weird food. It kind of makes me think they're trying too hard to be the Addams Family. With this, they're trying too hard to be like the Addams Family, but because weird food and weird stuff like the Addams Family would do in the cartoons. And, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I like the design of the characters. Shaggy and his red shirt, but then you got the girls. Each one designed to be sort of like the famous characters, like Elsa is blue, and it seemed like, or not Elsa, Phantasma. I always get confused. Phantasma is blue and kind of see-through from time to time, which I don't know how she eats the fudge if she's see-through, but anyway. And Elsa looks like a female Frankenstein with big poofy hair. Tanis is a little girl mummy with a ponytail. Isabella, purple vampire Dracula with blue and purple hair. I think it was white in there too. I don't know. And then, of course, Winnie, little werewolf girl with red hair. Then you see the parents, and they're sort of similar. With the Dracula, and they could use Dracula because Dracula is, what do you call it? Fair game, I guess you could say. But what's it called? What is the word? Public domain. But for Frankenstein, they can't. So it's Frankenteen. Yeah, even though the monster was Frankenstein's monster. So you can call me anything you want. The monster. No, Frankenteen. The Phantasma's father sounds like Peter Lorre. What I think of taking care of my daughter. Sounds like Peter Lorre. There's that. And in the end, the new students are daughters of... I have an issue with one of them. Daughters of the creature of the Black Lagoon, who is orange for some reason. What's the other one? I know the last one. Remember what the other one was? An alien. The alien girl, the creature of Black Lagoon's daughter, and Godzilla's daughter. Let me tell you something here. Godzilla does not have a daughter. He has a son named Minya. And we hate him, and that's that. Okay? He has a son, not a daughter. It's just a little Godzilla with a bow in her hair. But no, Godzilla does not have a daughter. Okay? Just saying. Overall, I thought this movie was fun, a bit unnecessary with the villain, but I'm making it very high, middle of the road. I can have fun with it, what it is. I just felt like the villain came out of nowhere and wasn't needed. It just, I don't know, maybe scratch my head a little bit. Like, well, when did she come in? I saw her on the back of the box. I'm like, okay, well, wasn't there a villain in here? And then all of a sudden, boom, halfway through, we introduce this villain never seen before, and yeah. Also, why do these movies start with Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy just driving around, going to a location? I don't know. A lot of Scooby-Doo stories do that, I guess. But, yeah. And while I think, the first one, Boo Brothers, had a traditional story elements of a Scooby-Doo mystery. And then they took that out because they thought that was the thing that was messing up in that movie. So there's no mystery in the next two. It's just goofiness with monsters and stuff. Because the mystery thing was the problem with that movie. Yeah, sure. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School? And in the comments below, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.